So these just came in. These are the longer, correct braided hoses for my compressors. So let's get those things put on. All right, so we got the check valve. The check valve actually goes into the tank so that air can come from the compressor into the tank, but it cannot go back the other way. So start at the tank and work backwards. All right, so now I've got all of the compressors wired up to the tank. Still got a couple parts to finish up, but I want to take these wires, hook them up, and we've also got all of the cabling for the airlift system with the two compressors for each, two relays for each compressor. So I'm going to undo all this stuff, and this would be inside. Then I'm going to wire it all up back here just on a test battery. See if I can get this thing to fire up and put some air in the tank. Maybe even lift the truck with a remote.
One eternity later.
All right, so while practicing my social distancing that we're all talking about right now, I took yesterday and had to strip off all of the connectors. This whole setup was all zip tied. If you remember, I picked this up off of Facebook Marketplace from somebody up about 2 states north of me. And so this is all the airlift 3-piece stuff. I had it plugged in, and I was testing really for the last probably day and a half. And I couldn't get anything to click on, so I was testing relays. I couldn't get this module to come on. Finally called up Airlift. They walked me through everything. And what I found out, rookie mistake, I trusted the connection that the other guy did on the power wire that runs the ignition circuit. So, after a bunch of testing and random things to do, hooking cables up and whatnot, taking them apart, it's now working. So it's currently just set up on a test environment with this battery. I do have the tank that fills up, and I believe one of my fittings is leaking a little bit. But that's what this point of the process is for. So check this out. I don't want to go all the way down because I've got some quick clamps up here that are holding some hoses in place. But it's pretty fast. So I'm going to go ahead and take off the pressure sensor that I bought because I don't need it with this airlift system. It's got one built in, which is really nice. I'm going to figure out which fitting is leaking and fix that. And then I'm going to tidy up this wiring. Then I've got the split loom to put on all of my hoses, like right here. This is that clamp I was talking about, and if I go too low, it hits the tire. But that's holding these hoses up on either side, and just start to kind of finalize all this stuff, button it up, and start doing some body work. All right, guys, it is time to start prepping for body work. So we got to take the seat out, we got to take the gas tank out. Kind of been holding some stuff in here for a while. Pieces, parts, gauges, and just things. But we're going to take all of this stuff out. Get the seat frame out. Because we've got cab corners. We've got a floor. We've got new seats. We've got these beauties up here to do. So we're just going to start piece by piece, but to do that, we got to strip the inside apart. So next thing to do is to take this frame out. There's a couple wasps have been hanging around in here, so I'm kind of being a little skittish, jumping around, not sure if they've got any nest or something on the other side. But anyway, we got to take these bolts out here and back there on either side. The frame will come up and come out, and then we can take out the sliding mechanism next. After that, it's onto the gas tank. So you can see what I did here when I put these seat belts in. I did really large washers here, and there's actually a metal bar, a steel bar that goes from about here over to the other side, just to help strengthen all of that area. On these belts, they're going to get redone when I do everything next, because I'll probably end up redoing some of this flooring. I'm going to be putting some different seats in. I won't be using these stock seats, so I'll put captain's chairs in, most likely. And up here, this is going to be redone as well, because we'll have a transmission hump for the 700R4. And then obviously just looking at all of this flooring over here, it's piecemealed. Cab corners need to be redone. All over here is pretty rotten. And then even down here you can see. So it's really thin, but this is why I kept the S10 cab, because I'm going to do some measurements and see if I can use the S10 floor and just put it in here. Then I've got a transmission hump and everything else already done. So guys, as you can see, cab corner, rusty, holes, gross, needs to be repaired. Cab corner panel. I have no idea what I'm doing, but I've got a plan and a marker. So I know that I need to cut out the bad stuff, obviously, but my concern is that if I cut it out, I have no frame of reference for where this patch panel needs to go. So I'm going to set the patch panel up against the truck. I'm going to mark the top of it first. Then I'll cut out the bad stuff. I can line this back up with that mark. Then I can scribe a line on the patch panel as to where my hole is. cut the patch panel down to what I need, and then tack it in place. We'll give it a shot. We've got 2 of them to do. We've got 2 cowl panels to do. We've got a floor to do. So we've got really we've got a lot to do. Let's give it a shot. Alright, so we were able to pull this off, keep this inside skin that everything was pretty much peeling off of anyway. I'm going to try and reuse that if possible. And we can see here also, this is pretty eating up this inner piece. But instead of just cutting that out right away, I want to try and see if I can use it to shape, get some sheet metal and shape that in and replace it. So I'm kind of being delicate. I mean, the rest of this, it's got Bondo in it. I'll probably cut it up higher up here. I'm going to try and keep as much of this original stuff as possible. I read that you should only cut out the bad metal, but keep as much good metal as possible. So that's what we're going to do. In full transparency, this has been like the most nerve-wracking thing to even try and start. Figuring out just how to weld last year has been kind of fun, but I was able to do it on kind of big, thick metal and things that you can, they're easy to replace. But the cab, I'm trying not to mess up the cab here. So wiring, suspension, all of those things, completely comfortable with. Bodywork, never done it before. I've run Bondo, I've done some paint and stuff like that, but this is my first time ever doing this, so I'm excited. I always have to make the first cut, and then you figure it out from there, right? Well, let's keep going.